American civilians were now out. Only the Marines were left. Hundreds of Vietnamese were left behind inside the embassy compound.
Felt maybe mad at the ambassador for not starting soon enough or getting enough of the people out earlier. I think there was a lot of resentment there at that time.
With the ambassador gone, the Marines headed for the roof, from where they would be picked up by helicopter. They were followed by desperate Vietnamese, still hoping to be taken out.
We barricaded the building on the first floor, and there were gates on every floor of the stairwell. We locked all of the stairwells. Well, in about 5 minutes, some of the Vietnamese had broken through the doors. They had taken one of the fire trucks that we had there at night. They took those vehicles and they smashed through the doors of the embassy. At the top stairwell, we barricaded it with foot lockers. And then every once in a while, we would throw a little can of CS gas or something to try to clear the stairwell. And we just kept that barricaded up. Some of the people in the stairwells were crying for us. They were holding their hands up and like praying to us to let them in, and we just couldn't let them in. There just wasn't any room for them. We got on the roof and we stayed on the roof, and then we were waiting for our helicopters and nothing happened. We didn't have any guarantee that we were going to be rescued or the helicopters were going to come for us. We had plenty of ammunition. We had all of our rifles. If we had to do whatever we had to do, we had the equipment, we had the machine guns, we had the power to fight if we had to. But we were all just dead tired. We had been up all night evacuating people. We were just very physically exhausted at that time. We sat there for about 2 hours, and then the sun started coming up. It got eerily quiet, very, very quiet. It was like a quiet before a storm.
Down in the city, people prepared for the arrival of the North Vietnamese. They did all they could to cover up their links with the Americans.
My mother, she went into my room. She go through all of my belongings, clothing, suitcase, and pictures. She took them out and burned them. She burned anything that have the labels in English. All of the pictures that I wear miniskirt in the 60s and the 70s, she burned them on. My high heels, she burned. And the next thing I knew, I jumped in and I tried to choke her neck to kill her. And I say, Mommy, Mommy, this is mine. This is my clothes, what I'm going to wear. And this is mine because those are mine. Those are my identity. Those are my past, me. She burned and she kept crying. She say, they will come in, they find these things, they will kill you. They will kill you. I have to destroy them. And here I am choking her to death to stop her. It's just reactionary, and I hated her. I hated her until the day I left Vietnam. I didn't even talk to her.
The city was full of rumors about ways to get out. Thousands gathered at the docks in a frantic final bid to escape before the arrival of the North Vietnamese.
We get to the boat, get on the plank that connect to the boat, and we climb up from the ground to the boat. and the boat can get very crowded. And we find out that the boat actually cannot move because the engine not working. But but we're not gonna give up. We stay there anyway, and someone actually take the plank off the boat, so nobody else can get on the boat. So people still try to get on the boat by throwing rope over or swim over and climb up, and then we wait on the boat until something happens. We're just hoping that they can fix the boat.
Elite Forces, Sundays starting at 8 on the Military Channel. Attention, if you owe...
People were looting and carrying on, and it was just like the end of civilization. It was a free-for-all. To see people that had been in an organized society literally driving away American vehicles and looting American buildings and taking American furniture and running through the streets. I had never experienced that before.
At 7:46 a.m., the helicopters finally arrived to take Patraz and his fellow Marines out of the embassy. They were the last Americans to leave Vietnam. Three hours later, the North Vietnamese troops rolled into the heart of the city. The most lurid rumors about these troops turned out to be false. They didn't pull women's fingernails out or bury people up to their necks. But they did send thousands of South Vietnamese who had worked with the Americans to re-education camps.
I remember being in 6th grade, 11 years old, and watching the war on television. And it just felt surreal that here I was 10 years later, witnessing the death of a nation.
My own feeling of that was a mix. There was a mix of sadness and a good deal of anger that we, the United States, had come this road and ended our Vietnam commitment and engagement in this way.
A 20-year attempt to build a nation in South Vietnam had ended in humiliation for the Americans and personal disaster for those they left behind. Some believe the lessons of that experiment have now been forgotten.
Trying to grow a democracy in the midst of chaos and in the context of an historical culture and society is as foolish now as it was then. So there's an American messianic quality at work again, as it was then. Leads us to believe that we can go around creating our own image, recreating our own image. I'm, as you can tell, highly cynical about that.
After 3 days at sea, Long and the others on his boat were picked up by a cargo ship. He eventually made it to the US. It was another 11 years before he was reunited with his family.
If someone give me a pill for me to forget all of this, I won't take it. Because I guess you don't like the experience when you're in, but after you survive it, after you experience the experience, it gives you so much.
Kim was arrested for collaborating with the Americans and spent 2 years in a re-education camp. On her release, she bought a small boat and escaped Vietnam on her own, also ending up in America. She was never to see her mother again.
I felt I was betrayed. I felt that they left me to die, as I left me in my country to die. That's how I felt it. It was not only betrayed. I felt betrayed, but I felt in anger. The anger that was so great that I still feel it today. I still feel it today.